And if the panda starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the red side of the moon. I hope you're turning red E to be welcome to Pink Floyd, the podcast where we watch every movie ever made to see if it syncs up with Pink Floyd's 1973 magnum opus, The Dark Side of the Moon. My name is Gareth Blackler, and if I was to turn into an animal when embarrassed, it'd be a big old pelican with a big old mouth full of water.
Whoa!
But the person whose friendship helps keep turning into an animal under control, please welcome the co-host of this show, James Barron. Hello, James. What animal would you turn into?
Hello, Gareth. It's nice to see you. Nice to hear your voice coming out of that big pelican's bill. Put me on the spot. Gosh, I feel like I'd turn into a cool lizard from a few weeks ago with sunglasses on, or potentially last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're putting beers in the fridge. That's me. I'm that cool guy lizard that teaches you how to drink. What's up, Gareth? I'm reporting live from Christchurch, the streets of Christchurch. It is pandemonium down here because Pixar put out a new film, and it's sweeping the nation mainly through the vector of Disney Plus home streaming. Turning Red. Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Oh.
I've seen it twice. Once with and once without Pink Floyd.
Me too.
James, what'd you think of this film?
Loved it. Bloody loved it.
Yes.
As I do with most Pixar flicks, honestly, they they nail the just like the level of storytelling that they have on display and technical ability has just like become unmatched. I was pretty floored throughout this whole movie. I was just astounded at how impressive animation has gotten and like how great they've gotten at like, this kind of storytelling. They're just going from strength to bloody strength, and you love to see it.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, because I've spoken to friends who found this movie like a little too much. Like they didn't love it. And I think it's because it feels to me like it's the first Pixar film in ages that feels like it's really made for a younger audience.
It is, yeah.
And at least in the beginning, like I think a lot of my fellow 30-year-olds found like they're used to their Pixars being, you know, kind of sad. Whereas this is like, hello world, I'm 13, let's party.
Yeah.
And I think people found it a bit cringe in the way you would if you found like an exuberant 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And you gotta hand it to them for, you know, nailing that so well. And then continuing to nail an incredibly specific world they've built for this film.
Yeah.
That is perfect for me.
It sent me back, like hurtling back to 2002, that exact era. And they absolutely nailed that aspect of it to the point where it like hit me in that nostalgia zone, you know, more than a lot of films that I've seen recently. I was like, oh yeah, that sure was a time. And it's perfectly captured here. So that they just know how to get to me, Pixar. They get their like hooks into me and it's all over. All right. As you say, I agree. This is very much like a movie aimed at a younger audience than like probably I feel like Soul, the more recent one that they have also done was, I have no idea who that movie was for. It was for like the human race as a concept more so than like any specific demographic. But that's not a dig. That's not a read on the movie. I think it's really, really good. But it's also like incredibly existential and sad for like not this one. This movie, despite like the fantastical elements, is very, very grounded in reality. And it's not dealing with so much high concept stuff. Like, you know, like, hey, what if your emotions were all people and stuff like that, you know? It's a fun romp, and like sometimes you don't need a movie to be like being like, why do we die? Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's still dealing with some like complicated stuff. Like,
oh, for sure.
how are you disappointing your parents? At what age do you have to leave some form of childhood behind, or can you bring it with you? Can you, how do you discover who you are? Like all this stuff through the medium of being a big old furry panda. And I honestly, like, I'm just happy my friend James liked this movie.
Yeah, man. Happy to oblige.
Yes.
It's a safe bet for sure. But yeah, it's a mostly a story about like puberty, I would say, but like it's also about like family and growing up. It's about family and growing up and learning to accept yourself and value what you think about yourself over what everyone else thinks about you as well. Because you're like, and also your own like inner critic, I think, is judged here. Yeah, it's a good one. There's a lot going on. It's a fun flick, and I'm ready to talk about it and how it's synced with a soundtrack not intended for it, possibly intended for it. Made by the likes of the Pink Floyd.
Popular boy band Pink Floyd.
I guess they are a boy band. They didn't have any of the same aesthetic. They do like have a big live show, which I grant you is a boy band vibe. I do like the energy of describing things that shouldn't be boy bands as boy bands, though. Like, is Kiss a boy band?
Yeah.
Slipknot?
Yeah. Both of those are very theatrical bands where every member has a big personality.
Yeah.
That outshines their actual, like, real name, which is classic boy band stuff.
Exactly. Oh, man. I cannot wait to get into talking about that. So let's get there.
Oh, yeah. I've got a lot to say about boy bands.
Cool.
So let's kick straight in.
All right.
To Turning Red, Dark Side of the Moon, movie on mute, album on loud.
There it is. Opening title, Speak to Me, everything that you know and love. Opening, like photo shots here. We've got like, like snapshots from a young Maylin Lee's life. She's a young Chinese Canadian girl growing up in Toronto. And yeah, it's just like she's doing like a voiceover talking about her life at the start of the movie. And it's a really like cute way to introduce this character. She's like super confident and has full control over her life. And also, it's 2002, baby. And it's so 2002, like from the get-go. Like, there's so much like weaved into this movie, setting it like exactly there. She's got this sweet Tamagotchi. There's like,
yes.
Oh my God. The aesthetic of like all the design throughout this movie is super 2002 as well. Oh, it's really good. It's sent me all the way back. But yeah, I'm also immediately struck by the animation style here, because this is, I would say it's not your typical Pixar animation style. It's almost like, I got almost like Wallace and Gromit kind of vibes from the like snappiness of people moving, and also like just the like face structure of some of these characters is very like claymation-y almost.
Those are some Wallace and Gromit mouths.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely very different, but yeah, they're just like nailing the snappiness to this movie is so fun. There's so much like just quick snapping of animation, and like it feels like Looney Tunes level of control over animation, you know? And I was just loving all these shots of, it's brilliant. It's really, really good. If you love animation, like, it like reminded me a lot of like Spider-Verse, which is another animated movie which I was really impressed by the technical skill of. Like, just like every frame and movement in this is so tidy and a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah, because like we've said, it's grounded, but it definitely heightens. It does a very anime thing of like, if someone feels a big emotion, the background behind them will change.
Yeah.
And their eyes will change, and like sparkles and such will fly out and stuff. And then it just snaps straight back into reality.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice honestly. Like, I would agree. There's like a direct anime call out in one of these characters, but also like a lot of these, a lot of these like pull-in shots feel very like comic booky or like anime. Or like Saturday morning cartoons as well, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a good vibe. All very childhood nostalgia for me. Yeah, so May, I just call her May, I think. Her mum calls her May May, and I felt uncomfortable writing that in my notes.
Yeah. You're not her mum.
No, I'm not. May's going to school and meeting up with her friends. They get like these cool character intros with like a freeze frame and their name appearing on screen, which is really fun. Her friends are Miriam, who I've written as like a crunchy type, but not really. She's just like a 90s kid with braces and like curly hair, but whatever. Priya, who I've written is an Aubrey Plaza type, like almost exactly. Has that same like deadpan energy, which I very much enjoy. And Abby, who is a like hothead character, but like I've noticed that she is basically a direct reference to Toriyama and Dragon Ball Z animation specifically. Like a lot of her frames are like straight up ripped from Dragon Ball in a really great way. And she has this like powerful Dragon Ball energy throughout the whole movie. There's a bit specifically where she catches a dodgeball with her teeth, and that's like premium like young Goku energy for me.
Yes. Speaking of references in Abby, did you notice did you notice she has like essentially the same outfit as Boo from Monsters Inc., but like a little bit grown up?
Oh shit, so she does. Yo, that's a really great catch. Huh. Who knew? Maybe she's like the way she is because she knows so much about monsters. You know, she's just raised by monsters.
Or like my big theory is Monsters Inc. and Turning Red are the same world, and the reason the monsters in Monsters Inc. harvest children's emotions is because they were once children who were turned into monsters by their heightened emotions. And like now they've just like lived in their own world long enough. So,
whoa, runs deep. Wow, I like this theory.
We haven't had that Pixar theory yet.
Oh, that Pixar theory. Oh man, but yeah, she's here with her friends at school and hanging out and absolutely crushing it. She's like a know-it-all, like super smart kid. Yeah, so she's crushing it, but she's not crushing on the random guys about school or any of the like her friends have like cottoned on to like, hey, guys are pretty interesting, but she's not at all at that level. She's 13, so like the movie is going to deal with this obviously. They all start crushing on this convenience store guy called Devin, who looks the most bored person on the planet. He's very fun. He's wearing like a bucket hat, and I'm just like, hell yeah, good work. And yeah, we're going into On the Run for this. She is more focused on the friends' mutual love of Four Town, the fictional boy band in the movie, consisting of 5 members. They're basically in like a NSYNC analog, I would say, is the closest comparison. Backstreet Boys level, potentially. Yeah.
Were you into boy bands as a lad?
Not super into boy bands, no. I enjoyed the song Bye Bye Bye.
How could you not?
No, but I don't know. It wasn't really a thing that I was attuned to. I don't think I got into like pop music until high school properly, honestly. I was just like a young boy playing piano, and like that was my vector for music the entire time. And I'm like, hey, wait, actually, stuff on the radio might be okay. You know?
There are other instruments.
It was piano and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and that's all I had in my little hovel. All right.
Now, to tell you how much I loved boy bands, this is going to be the Pink Floyd debut of the shoe story teased a few weeks ago.
Oh.
Where...
Oh, shit.
I think the year was 1999, and we were living out in, like, sort of in the country. We were living... It's really hard to describe, but we're living kind of between two bigger houses, and would often just go and play in the neighbor's yard. But the neighbors had just had a bonfire, because it was bonfire season. So they'd burned all their old leaves and scraps and, I don't know, evidence. And I had to go get my brother because it was lunchtime. It was a Saturday. It was time for lunch. I had to go get my brother from the neighbor's yard. And I see him, and I walk across a conveniently empty brown patch of ground. Like, I would say about 10, 20 meters of just conveniently flat brown earth. And I'm like, great. Good for walking on in my little jandal shoes. As I'm walking, I begin to feel immense heat coming through my jandals.
Whoa.
And my 9-year-old brain or 8-year-old brain goes, oh man, my jandals are really hot. I should take off my jandals.
What?
So I take off my jandals and realize then, after kicking these jandals off onto more of this safe brown dirt, that the safe brown dirt is in fact ash from a recent bonfire that I'm now standing on.
What?
So, I turn tail and I run back home on my burned feet across all the gravel that lived behind us.
You didn't put your shoes back on?
No, they were lost in the ash. I couldn't see them.
No. You kicked them off. Okay.
Yeah. So I ran back. I said to, I was probably crying. I was like, Mum, the dirt betrayed me. I'm a child. I love dirt and it's betrayed me. And, she takes care of me. And my brother comes back on his own accord because it's lunchtime. And he is then sent to go get my jandals, which might still be safe in the brown dirt. He goes. He freaks out from the heat, kicks off his shoes, and comes running back with his burned feet.
Oh, man.
So my mum then had to go pick up both the shoes and come back and then nurse her burned sons back to health.
Wow.
Now, my feet ended up being quite badly injured.
Really?
So I couldn't. Yeah, I had to go in a wheelchair for a day.
Holy shit!
Because I couldn't put too much pressure on them. And I went in that wheelchair to a little concert called the Backstreet Boys Experience.
No way! What?
Yeah. On the Saturday night, the same night I burned my feet, we went to see the Backstreet Boys Experience. I believe actually they might have been called D-Boys, and they covered NSYNC as well. Okay. And I saw a bunch of the girls from school, because I think I was the only boy in class who liked boy bands. And they were all like, since when was Gareth in a wheelchair? What's going on?
Is this his secret life?
Yeah. On the weekends, huh? And I couldn't go into school for a few days. And I missed the field trip to the beach. We were going to do a field trip to the beach to look at rock pools. And to make up for it, because I couldn't risk getting sand on my burned feet, my parents bought me Backstreet Boys, Backstreet's Back on cassette, and a magazine about the Backstreet Boys for me to read while listening to my boys. Yeah. Wow. And instead of going and learning about rock pools and learning about the beach, I instead have the strongest memory of all my memories of me sitting alone, reading my Backstreet Boys magazine, listening to the bonus track on that cassette, which was All I Have to Give Part 2, the Conversation Mix. Have you heard this?
I have not heard that. That's hilarious as a title, though. What?
And All I Have to Give Part 2, the Conversation Mix, is entirely spoken word about all the things they'll do if the Backstreet Boys were your girlfriend. Wow. And I don't know if you've ever been 8 years old with burned feet, missing a day at the beach to nurse your feet back to health. But boy, oh boy, do you then take note on how to be a man from the Backstreet Boys. And yeah, that's
Wow.
my story of boy bands.
That's fantastic. What a journey you've taken me on.
Yeah.
Wow. That's you've planted me firmly back in the 2000s more so than this movie did. Like, that's incredible. Holy shit.
My feet were turning red.
I have a follow-up question. What do you remember any of the life advice that the Backstreet Boys gave you? Is there any pearls of wisdom you can pass on?
Howie D, I think he wanted you, his girlfriend, to cook him breakfast and cook him lunch and cook him all the food. And then the next Backstreet Boy takes her and is like, nah, Howie, that's not how we do it. I almost paused before cook him all the food, like it was going to be a dark twist that he wants to be cooked.
Cook me up, put me in a pie.
That's what I would do if I was your boyfriend. Be cooked in a pie. But don't worry, the next Backstreet Boy takes over and goes, nah, Howie, that's not how we do it. Let me cook you food. Let me make your bed. Let me do this.
Whoa.
All I want is your kisses or something like that. And I was just like, okay. So those are the two extremes. Got it. Thanks, Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
Wow. Diverse stances within the boys. I like this.
Yeah.
Wow. What an adventure. I can't remember what we were doing anymore, but now...
Yeah, this is the podcast where we talk about foot injuries, right?
I think so, yeah. Hot Foot Pod. No, we can't continue this line of questioning. We must return to the movie proper, Gareth. Is that acceptable? Can we talk about...
That is acceptable, but that is my boy band history, and that is why I immediately related to these girls, and also have been listening to Four Town for the whole week.
It's not bad, is the thing. The music produced for this movie is pretty damn good. I was surprised
amazing.
At the quality. It's written by, like, Billie Eilish, I think, actually, which is pretty wild. I love that she, like, what a fun project that would be. Being, like, an established musician, and then people, like, coming up to you and being like, hey, can you write music for a fake boy band? There's no way I wouldn't say yes to that. That sounds fantastic. Right? Oh my God. Incredible. What a good gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like...
And it's so, like, perfect for what it's trying to be.
Yes. It's, like, just generic enough to be, like, funny, but also really, really well written. Oh, it's very good. Anyway, back to the movie. These friends are, like... trying to get May to come out and do karaoke with them, sing some Four Town classic bangers. But May is under the pressure of family responsibility, unfortunately, and must go and help her family. Because she gets given a mixed CD, which also was incredibly transportative for me, seeing this CD with the Sharpie written onto it. I was like, oh man, it sent me back. But she runs back home to help her mum, who is extremely strict and but loving, but just really, really is intense and has a very strong relationship with her daughter, who they hang out together all the time and work together in the temple that they run and then live at behind. It's a cool little setup. Again, we're in Toronto, which is this movie isn't very Canadian-y, I felt. No one has a Canadian accent in the whole film, which I found unusual.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So she gets home and she says, she's been telling us the whole time that she's making her own moves and she's in control. But she says, I do make my own moves. It's just that some of the time those moves are also her moves, referring to her mum. And that's where we get the crash sounding on the run. And I was like, oh, I see. I see, Pink Floyd. I see you. And yeah. They get down to business and start cleaning up this temple and doing the running of the temple, getting people through. We learn that the temple is not in reference to a reverence of a specific god, but they just worship their ancestors, and specifically Sun Yi, who was like a historical figure in their family, and the red panda spirit, who blesses their family with good fortune. Yeah, good vibes. May dresses up in a big like panda suit, which I found very made of cardboard, which is very cute. Yeah, they just sort of go about this day and then go home for Dad's cooking. We get to meet the dad here, and his introduction is premium because he's doing this amazing, like, slow motion, the most beautiful food you've ever seen prepared in your life. It looks fantastic. Like those like incredible like what are like with the really, really high quality cameras where they capture like many frames per second footage of food flying through the air for adverts is what it's like, you know? And it like has this stunning like slow-mo shot of his like glasses just glowing from within, like some kind of anime master, you know? It's like very much like the master at work, and then it's a reveal that they're fogged up from the steam of the cooking. I just found that fantastic. That in itself is just so funny. I loved it. And yeah, they have this like nice meal and hang out at home. We do see some initial tension here that the mum disapproves of Miriam, one of May's friends. And it's like, maybe this mum ain't right all the time like we think. Anyway, from here, we go into Time's solo here, and May is doing her homework at like a desk because she's a goody two shoes, and she does this sketch of the boy down at the convenience store. And this scene is very, very funny, just like played out with her like getting more and more carried away with these sketches. Yeah. And also that the style of her drawings is very, very like how to draw anime characters, the book, you know? Like, just very, very funny. They're all of this like boy Devon. At one point he has a mermaid tail. It's very good.
Which is something that keeps coming back. It's like a kind of fantasy thing. Which is so funny.
Very good. Yes. Her mum comes in and like immediately finds this. It's such a good detail where like she's acting really normal and like we get this like internal monologue shot of her sweating incredibly, like don't look down, and then she looks down for like a frame and her mum spots it and like instantly like clocks what's going on. And instead of like questioning her daughter because her daughter's perfect and infallible, she blames this immediately on the clerk Devon and like takes her down to the store and like demands to know why he's like corrupting this poor innocent girl, and reveals these sketches, like slamming them down on the counter. And it's like a really mortifying sequence, you know?
Oh, this is my like Hereditary as far as like, horror movie goes. If my mum found my fan art,
right?
My basic anime fan art when I was 13.
It's brutal. And yeah, she's like, it reads like a nightmare. Like we get an actual nightmare after this, but like this like actually plays out more like how the typical school nightmare, you know, of like, oh my God, it's incredibly embarrassing and mortifying. Just classic 13-year-old stuff, man. And the mum doesn't even realize that she's done anything wrong. She's like, thank goodness I was there. May like tries to keep it together, but like is very upset and embarrassed by this. And notably also at this convenience store, the school bully Tyler was there, who will become relevant soon. So she returns home and is like very upset, but is like blaming herself She doesn't blame her mum for how this went down. She's like, oh, how could you be so stupid? Why would you do this? Why are you acting like this? You don't act like this, to herself. And like, doesn't even clock that her mum was being like completely irrational in that situation. So it's like double to blame. It's very good.
Very real.
Very real. We go from here to Great Gig and a stormy night that follows this, as May has a really intense nightmare sequence involving the red panda spirits coming alive and a lot of like really quite disturbing imagery. I loved this. It made me want Pixar to make a horror movie, like a full horror.
Ooh.
Imagine that.
Ooh.
Like an animated, like fully animated, like straight up horror movie. I reckon they could do a really good job and it would be such a zag. Like everyone would be like, oh my God, what? and love it. So, I think they proved it with just this one nightmare sequence. It's so surreal and so upsetting. There's like a diced like sashimi kind of thing bit in the middle, like a tentacle that gets cut or something. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Didn't like that.
Are you picturing this is still for kids, this Pixar horror, or full like rated R?
Like I'd be happy with either. I feel like the rated R would be a harder sell, but like I would love that. Like just like give me like a fully animated horror movie. I think they must be incredibly rare, but like I reckon it would be, if anyone could pull it off, I think Pixar would be the one. They've proven it just with this one sequence to me anyway.
It'd be so cool if it's a fully animated horror movie that's technically rated G. Like, other than the fact it's incredibly scary, nothing like too dodgy happens. It's just like terrifying.
It would be awesome. It sucks because I feel like it will never happen because it's the kind of idea that could bankrupt the studio, but it has the chance. Like I would pitch it for like 40 years and never get it made, I think, but it would be sick.
Yeah, you and I are the janitors at Pixar, just every meeting being like, how's that spooky horror movie going?
Yeah, everyone's like, nah, we're still making heartfelt bangers. This is what's making us money. Why risk it? Like,
yeah, go polish our Oscars, our yearly Oscars.
All right, again. Yes. So we have this nightmare sequence, and the following morning, May wakes up and she's transformed into an enormous red panda, approximately like 7 or 8 feet tall, big panda.
Yeah.
Very cute.
So cute.
I like it. I like the panda. I like the way it be in the movie. My only complaint about the movie turning red is that there wasn't more panda, honestly.
Yeah.
Much like the characters in this film, I become obsessed with this panda quickly. Yeah, she discovers this and hides from her parents in the bathroom who suspect that May's gotten her first period. Now, like it's a pretty clear allegory for puberty, this movie, right? Like it's like growing up and moving away from your parents and like your attitude changing towards your parents as you grow older, from like the transition between like being a child and being a young adult or a teenager, you know, is very clear what's happening in this movie. And yeah, like having it like directly addressed, the fact that like this is a Pixar movie that talks about periods is pretty wild, you know, like, that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And like, it's good for them as a storytelling thing, because then like, you're immediately not like, oh, the whole thing's a metaphor for periods, because it's like, no, we've talked about that. It's not, we've, outright said it's not that. So you can drop that immediately.
Yeah, it's not really. Exactly. It's much deeper than that, you know. It's not like,
oh yeah,
it would be a way worse movie if it was just an allegory for that. But you know,
yeah, it's a movie they show at your like Christian high school, because they can't actually teach you about periods. So they're like, and then she magically transformed,
and then she did it like every like 28 days or something, you know. Oh God. And that's what but it only happens on the red moon. It's like, okay. All right then. Anyway, her mum comes in and like is trying to help, but is also being like continuing to be like overbearing and is like hyper prepared for this situation and this eventuality. She like has a million pads and things and is just like trying to be helpful, but May's like, no, go away. I'm a giant panda. But also she's like embarrassed, like, you know, of this situation because she can't explain it. And she doesn't want her mum to be the one to help her, which I think is like quite important. But yeah, anyway, she runs back to her room and like, I love that she tries to like force reset by like going back to sleep. This is such good logic of a little kid being like, oh no, I've awoken unto a nightmare. If I go back to sleep, it will fix it and I'll wake up again and things will be normal. It's so good. But it does sort of work in that she calms herself down, and that's how she figures out, she's like, oh, it's my emotions that make me turn into this big panda. Like, if I'm calm, then I will stay in human form. Except for her hair, which changes to bright orange. Looks good, honestly. I actually forgot that she had like dark hair at the start of the movie because the orange hair looks so good on the character. Aww. Yeah, when you see it again in the mirror at the end, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. But yeah. So the panda is released when she experiences strong emotions, good or bad. And so it's like, yeah, it's about like keeping her emotions in check, right? Or like coming to terms with these new powerful emotions.
We're just kind of, it skates ahead a little to say this, but
sure.
The idea that like it's a movie, you read it on paper, oh, when her emotions get out of control, she turns into a panda. You're like, okay, got it. It's going to be something like the Hulk. She's going to be trying so hard to suppress her emotions, and then she'll have to like save the day by for once turning into the panda. It's so cool that this movie goes like, no, she's going to learn to love her big emotional self. And immediately kind of gets into being a panda. Like, yeah, we'll get to it a little more soon. But I just love, that's kind of one of the many little surprises this film twists the form with. Yeah, made me happy.
You were so right, man. Like how good would a Hulk movie be if the Hulk learned to love himself instead? He just like, he like, instead of like him turning into a big green monster that everyone hates, he's like, actually, I love being a big green guy. It's really cool and good. And everyone's like, yeah, actually, it is cool. That would be a very good movie.
Yeah. Just want to see, like, it starts with maybe about an hour of the Hulk as the Hulk in therapy, and then he leaves and he just remains the Hulk and he just has a lovely day.
Oh my God. Yeah. Please.
Or the Hulk at Disneyland.
Oh my God. It's just called Meeting Hulk. You know?
Hulk smashes toxic masculinity. No.
Smashes expectations.
Yeah. Hulk smashes expectations. Part of the Pink Floyd cinematic universe. After we somehow found the rights to the Hulk in a bin. And we're like, oh, sweet.
Oh, hang on. Someone left these here at the janitorial staff of Pixar for us to pick it up? Okay. Sure. Anyway. Yes. So she heads off to school, hiding her new hair in a toque. And yeah, like it's she's like giving her mum the thumbs up, being like, it'll be okay. You know, her mum's being like way too intense still, being like, oh, I'll prepare you with all of this stuff. And she's like, okay, please leave me alone. And yeah, she goes into school and is acting really weird because she's trying to keep her emotions in check. And her friends notice immediately that like something's up with her, and as they like rally around her at the start of school, the bully Tyler has spread posters around of May's drawings that she did. They're like all over the lockers because he's a jerk. Like, this is an enterprising bully. Like, this... He's got access to a photocopier in the early 2000s. Like, good effort, I guess.
I guess we later find out that he's quite, like, extra himself, and he's also quite rich and kind of doesn't seem to have that many friends. So I guess,
yeah,
hit up that photocopier.
Rich bully is a wild choice for this movie as well, I've got to say.
Yeah, rich bully, but he's not snooty bully. Very true to life.
Just like a yeah, he was a very realistic school bully character, I found. I actually really like Tyler as a character.
I was scared of him.
Yeah. So she's trying not to freak out and just like trying to keep calm and be like, yeah, everything's fine, but it's it's clearly not fine. Like, she goes into maths and like Miriam passes her a note like checking in on her and being like, hey, you okay? And then she passes her another one saying that her mum is outside. And yeah, her mum's out there trying to be like incognito, stealthing with like a full-on like jacket up and everything, and is causing a scene.
I swear the shot where the mum's revealed is like exactly the scene from the first Halloween movie when you see Michael Myers.
Oh no. That's great. Oh my god. But she's becoming more and more obvious. Like, a security guard like tries to like escort her off the premises because it's during school hours, and she's like, no, it's fine, I'm here to see my kid, I'm looking after my kid. And it's like she draws the attention of the entire class, and like May's desperately trying to pretend like this isn't happening, and it's getting like, it builds this tension. And eventually, like, she reveals that she's there to, like, give the, like, menstrual pads to May. She forgot these. And it's like this really awkward early high school thing. You know, it's like, here's another, like, typical high school nightmare, you know? Or middle school nightmare, I guess we're in. But, yeah. And this sends her over the edge, and she transforms into the panda, like roaring out, and there's this huge like puff of like purple smoke or pink smoke when she transforms, and like it pushes everyone up against the glass, but everyone's still like looking at the mum and doesn't notice. So only May's mum notices that there's this 8-foot panda in the room, and like chases after her. May like is panicking and like makes an escape and tries to run away from school, run all the way home. Classic kid stuff. She's like, I've got to do the reset again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the mum like giving chase in the car, like just zooming around in this car. She's got like a little moose bobblehead, which I found very funny as well. It's a very real item, like a kitschy bobblehead moose. Love that. It's very like this running through the city sequence causing chaos. It's very like big monster, like in the city. It's like this part reminded me of a kaiju scene, but like later on we'll get that proper kaiju magic. So anyway, it's still fun running across the rooftops and stuff. There's a great shot of her like doing a big leap over Mr. Lee, and he's like looking up like amazed. It's really good.
She also stops part way to just look at Devon real quick.
Yeah, just like have a wee moment with him. Very funny.
And a wooga and keep going.
I would have loved a wolf whistle, but that didn't happen. Anyway. So she gets all the way home and like hides in her room. Eventually her parents come in and like try like through the like disarray that this enormous panda has caused in their home. Tries to comfort her, and they reveal that they knew that this would happen. And it's like, what? You knew? That's a sweet twist. We learn through like a little a change in animation style. We look at this like Chinese scroll and have a story play out through like picture play, I guess. It's quite cute of this legend of the family's heritage, and Sun Yi, Sun Yi, the family ancestor. She was granted this ability to turn into a red panda under the red moon to protect her family from the war, and protect her daughters that she had. And she saved them and was this like big panda protector. And this gift of turning into the panda was passed on to her daughters. And as time passed, this continued. And what was once a really great gift became an inconvenience, is what the mum says. She initially blames this is like a curse put on her family, and tries to take it out on Sun Yi. But this is like immediately diverted because there is this cure. There's a ritual that can be done under a red moon to seal the panda spirit inside a little talisman, and then you won't turn into the panda anymore. And the next red moon is in 1 month's time, which means May will have to wait it out, and she's really worried about this. But the family's going to get through it together. It's quite sweet, really. But like, it does get sad here because they like take all the stuff out of her room and just leave her like a mattress and like one little toy, because she's like the danger of having this big panda in there can destroy all of her stuff. And it's really, really sad. She's just in there alone in a little cell, you know. And also she overhears her mum and dad like talking in the background, saying like they're really upset about like the damage that she did, and they're really stressed about this happening too soon. And they wish they were more prepared and stuff. And she feels really guilty and sad. It's really brutal. She turns into the panda and like starts crying. Didn't love that. So like right out of right out of Money going into Us and Them is we get a cut over the full moon, which I was like, nice. Here we go. Scene transition. There's that moon. Is that moon I know and love. Also nice to have a movie that's all like the moon features heavily as a plot point. That's always good.
It's been 2 weeks since we've had that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's always good just to check in with the moon, Gareth, on the show. Moon facts.
What's the moon up to?
What is the moon up to? Is there water on there? Don't know. Maybe? Yes. The following day, May's friends come to like check on her, and because she's like disappeared from school at this point and like run away, and they don't know what's going on with her, so they like have come to check on her and tell her that Four Town are coming to Toronto on tour. And she's like, oh shit, and like gets excited about this and reveals that she's this big panda. They discover her big panda secret and are like initially really freaked out. But then they are actually really into and like the panda transformation. They're like, they say like, you're still our friend, panda or no panda, is what they say, which I like. I also love that Priya's first reaction, like immediately after they calm down, she's like, are you a werewolf? Which is very funny. It's good stuff. So May's still very upset about this whole situation. She feels like this change is completely out of her control. And she's also, in combination with like, she feels like she's disappointing everyone in her life. Like she's letting her friends down and that she won't be able to go to this Four Town thing. She can't go to school. She's upset her parents by causing all this damage, and like they're stressed about this ritual, and it's like, it's all falling apart around her, and she's really stressed out. The like Four Town are coming before the ritual will take place, so there's no way that she'll be cured before going. It's really, she's like, oh damn it, you have to go without me, and they're like, oh, we wanted to go with you. It's really sad. But her friends like calm her down and cheer her up by doing like a crimp like rendition of one of Four Town's tracks, their pop banger Nobody Like You, which is not in time with our instrumental Any Color You Like, which is playing right now.
Which does start kind of when they start beatboxing, though. So
maybe. Yeah. They're pretty good at beatboxing in the movie. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like, a lost art. I wish I had friends. I wish I had friends that beatbox back in 2002, and I just had my own little like crew. That would be fantastic.
See, the thing about beatboxing is it's like doing an impression. You don't know if you can do it until you actually try it out loud, and then often it's too late. Often you've been like, yeah, I can beatbox. You start beatboxing. You realize, no, I can't. It's gotten away from you. And then you'll never try beatboxing again because you're like, well, the one time I couldn't do it.
Wow.
Like, it's a skill that doesn't reward, like, it doesn't reward trying and getting better.
Oh, no.
So my advice, this is the Pink Floyd life lesson for you all this week, is just try beatboxing alone in your own time. Look in the mirror tomorrow and beatbox. That's Pink Floyd's advice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I was forced into beatboxing once.
What?
That was the one time I beatboxed in my life. I was at a live comedy gig, and as part of somebody's set, they wanted to do like a freestyle rap.
Yeah.
And like they pointed to me and they were like, okay, you beatbox. And they were like, just go like that on the, and I was like, okay. And I did it, and I did it really well. And they did it for like, the thing was that I got annoyed with it because, they did this rap, but then they wanted to do like a whole second verse, and I was like, come on, like I want to enjoy the show. I'm not like getting paid to beatbox here. I got frustrated halfway through the rap because I was like, come on.
I'm running out of spit.
Yeah, you don't know how good I am at beatboxing. This could have gone really badly, but lucky for you, I'm a professional.
Oh, that is amazing. I wonder if they were like shocked that you were good and just like, finally I get to do my second verse.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah. They had like a second verse prepared, but they don't always get to do it. I'd take that as a compliment. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. That's now my headcanon for that for that situation. That they were impressed by my beatboxing. They're like, okay, the joke can continue. Great.
I also love that you got annoyed at audience participation for a very real reason. Like, excuse me, this is my night off. You're the one at work. You've got to do the work.
Oh my God. Don't get me started, buddy.
Imagine like at an improv show, it's like, all we need is one word from you guys. And someone's just like, no. This is my free time. You do the work. You choose your own
You
word.
come up with the words, funny man. My words are for me, not for you. That's the best. The no and from the audience.
The no and I'm keeping these expensive words.
If you need me this badly, I will take my leave, sir. Goodbye. So good.
If you needed words this badly, you should have pre-written them before your improv show.
Exactly. Sir. How dare you? Anyway.
Speaking of expensive words, this podcast. What?
Yeah. No, what?
And the audience are going to be so mad when they get their invoice from us.
Yeah, is this a premium podcast? I had no idea. God. Man, okay.
Having to pay after the fact would be so brutal for this show.
Yeah. After like 100 episodes, you get the bill in the mail and you're like, wait a minute. I didn't know that this was a subscription. God. They sing the song and it calms May down and she turns back from being a panda into herself, and her emotions now calm. And also, she doesn't transform back after a test. Like Abby punches her and she doesn't turn back into the panda, even though that really hurt. So yeah, it's like she says that she doesn't change back into the panda when she's thinking about those she loves most in her life, her friends, it turns out. Yeah, that's not at all going to be a problem. And So they were like, okay, we're all going to ask our parents, seeing as you can control this panda now, we're going to ask our parents if we can go to Four Town when they come tonight. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Because their friends aren't supposed to be there finding out about her panda secret. So they clear her out. And then, May's parents put her abilities to the test, her abilities to control the panda. And various tests are employed. There's a series of flashcards and a box of kittens, which is presented like it's the Gom Jabbar. I really loved that. Just the pain box, but it's like full of lovely cats. Yeah.
And I love that you see these cats later on in the movie. Like they just had to adopt these cats.
Yeah, the cat came back the very next day, Gareth. May's able to overcome these situations, these intrusive thoughts by thinking about her friends rallying around her. And yeah, her parents are really, really proud of her, but they think that she is thinking about them rallying around her instead. And it's like, oh, no. There we go. There's the conflict. So as a result of this, she's like, great, I'm doing so well. As a favor, though, I have one thing to ask, and does an off-screen presentation where she asks if she can go to Four Town. I love that she's prepared like a PowerPoint. It's so funny. This is such a nerdy kid thing to do, presentations to be like, let me go to this concert. I love it. I think I've met someone that told me that they did this in real life. Was it you? Maybe, might have been.
Sounds like me. I don't think we didn't have PowerPoint at home. Hence why I spent my lunchtimes using PowerPoint at school.
Yeah.
I put on little plays for my parents. I wrote them big letters to ask for things I wanted. Yeah, I was definitely a very formal request kind of kid. I do PowerPoints to suggest things now as an adult. I'll be like, what movie should we watch tonight? Click. In cinemas, there is. Click. At home, click. Which is why we must watch, click, Turning Red.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Round of applause. Applause break. You press the little microphone icon on PowerPoint and it plays canned applause. Perfect.
That's 100% what I was doing when I was the age of these kids. Just again in my free time at the library.
Yeah. Oh, good vibes. Good stuff.
Pixar should do a whole film just in PowerPoint. That's the only way they can be more relatable.
Pixar presents a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
I would like that a lot. It's all just clip arts come to life. That's a real challenge, an animation challenge. All the transitions are checkerboard wipes and stuff.
Oh. It pushes the limit of what technology can do, but their technology is exclusively 2003 era PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, my favorite character was that ASCII man made out of word art. They really had a good arc throughout the movie.
I love how the paperclip just redefined what a villain can be, you know?
The clip art movie. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Yes, she has this presentation, but the mum... May's mum refuses outright, saying that not only is it unsafe because of the panda transformation, but she also doesn't understand this appeal. She's like, oh, this band's music is filth. Why would you want to go to this? And it's just parents don't understand, man. That's what's up. I crossed my arms and did 2 shakas when I said that. They just don't get it, man. And then I go down the half pipe or something.
Parents don't understand,
anyway.
But I do. Me, your cool teacher.
Yeah, let me sit on this backwards chair and rap with you youths for a little bit. All right.
You kids heard of Pink Floyd?
Oh no! Never mind. Banned from schools. Oh, those guys got it. You heard The Wall? No. Anyway, so yeah, May's lamenting that the mum's like, why is May asking to do this? Why is she disobeying her mother? That's ridiculous. She gets a call from her mother, May's grandmother, who is this like absolute badass. We only see like parts of her like face and stuff. She's got this scar that cuts through one of her eyebrows. She's fucking cool. And yeah, she's like, has seen May's panda transformation on TV and is concerned and is going to come and help with the ritual in spite of what May's mum wants. Like, she's like, she just assumes that May is incapable of doing it without the family help. Which is important to note. Anyway. May's mum is like mortified by this. So because of this like breakthrough in her abilities, May can now return to school instead of just hiding out in panda jail all the time. And the gang are out here playing dodgeball and all saying that they couldn't convince their parents to let them go to Town. It's rough stuff. Miriam's actually said yes, but she said that she had to buy the tickets herself. And she's like, $200? You crazy? I'm 13. Anyway, this is where we get that like Toriyama straight up bite the dodgeball out of the ear thing as well, which I loved. So they're all upset about this. May's mum is also still lurking in the background. I love that she's still trying to be incognito, and this same security guard keeps coming back and telling her to leave, being like, you can't do this. Come on, get out of here. It's very good. Seeing this, the school bully like laughs at her, and May like loses control and her arm turns into the panda's arm, and she like launches this speed of light dodgeball that like cuts through Tyler's hair. Which I love, this detail is kept through the movie. Like Tyler's had a certain hairstyle up until this point, and then later on this in the movie, his hair's like grown out but is still cut into this shape by the dodgeball. Such a good detail. So good. Oh, I love it. Love it to bits.
I love when something like this, like especially something where, you know, it's in a heightened reality where suddenly someone's eyes can go big or something like that when they feel an emotion. But then I just love committing to something as continuity. Like, from now on, this is going to happen. Like, it's again, like BoJack Horseman is really good at it, where like something will be set on fire in one episode and it's like still burned like 3 episodes later.
Exactly, yeah. That's always such a good bit. One of my favorites is the invisible car in Atlanta. That like coming back as an actual thing is still one of my favorite moments in the show.
I forgot about that. That's so good.
So funny. Absolute genius. Anyway, we're going into Eclipse in the end of playthrough 1, and May is rushes off to the girls' bathroom to try and control herself, and she's like expressing her frustrations here that her mum, clearly doesn't understand how important this concert is to her. Like, there's a fundamental like disconnect where she's like, I'm like slaving away and like helping her all the time and being good, and she doesn't even give me the one thing that I ask for ever. Like, what is this all for? Why do I even do this if I'm like, if being good doesn't mean anything and she still won't let me have fun or do what I want? Like, the one time I ask for that to happen. It's very real 13-year-old stuff. And I was like, holy shit. And her friends are like, whoa, this is a big deal. I'm into this. Like, they're like, yes, rebel, join us. The friends will like decide that this is this concert is their first step into womanhood. And they have to do it together. They all have to go in together if they're going to do it at all. And they all decide to, at the end of playthrough 1 here, to disobey and go to the concert anyway. And that's like, it's a good turning point for the movie and for the album for us, you know, and that we have to flip it back to side A. And they decide to disobey. It does mean that they have to fund it themselves, and they are 13-year-old kids with no jobs. Like, so I guess May has a job and that she helps her family, but she doesn't get paid for it. But anyway, yes. Abby requests that in order to help them think, I really like that she transform into the big panda because she just loves the big panda. And so May like thinks about like mermaid version of one of the four town boys and like transforms into the panda. And some of the other girls see it from school and they instantly fall in love with the panda. They're like, we love this big panda. I'll give you anything to be with the panda. And you know what that means. You know what it's time for.
Oh yeah.
Other than Sing Floyd, other than Speak to Me by Pink Floyd. It's time to monetize your family curse to see a boy band, Gareth. That's what it's time for.
Yeah, this was like initially when I watched this movie, I was like a little disappointed that this was a big part of the plot. Was like,
this get rich quick thing.
Yeah, and I like watching it back with Pink Floyd. I kind of realized like, it's not actually that big a part of the plot. The money,
not really. No, it's mostly this one montage and then like the stuff with Tyler's birthday. But like beyond that, not really.
Yeah, actually, no, you're 100% right. But it is somewhat familiar to a little album called Dark Side of the Moon, where a surprisingly big chunk of it is about money.
Yeah, there you go. Just thrown right in the middle where you don't expect it. We're basically at like the start of side B of the movie, right? And that's like exactly where it falls. So that's pretty spicy.
Oh man,
I like that.
What if what if we've been doing it all wrong? Just what you said about side B. Because you've just set my brain in 1,000 directions and I'm worried no one's going to keep up. But side B, right? Side B of the movie. And in side B, money came up. And then, like, later on, there's a bit more of an us and them. What if we've actually been doing this wrong and we're supposed to take the album and slow the album down to the length of the movie and listen to that and see if that syncs?
That sounds truly horrendous. That's a family curse, Gareth. Yeah. I don't want to do that. That sounds truly dreadful as an experience. Like I find the process of doing this podcast and watching these movies with Pink Floyd on quite relaxing most of the time.
Yeah.
I think it's like not an onerous and bad thing to do, which is why I've done it for so long now. Like, you'll be pleased to know that I'm not like hating it. But like, I feel like that would send me over the edge if we had to do that. I'm not going to do that. That's my end for the evening.
Everyone gets one no and that's yours.
There it is. Just
you learned.
Like May's mum. I'm saying no on that one. Sorry.
Turn off my PowerPoint presentation and shuffle out.
What if Dark Side of the Moon was really long? It's just, and then like you've just stretched a JPEG of the cover.
See, are you back on board now that you can picture the podcast artwork?
I can, yeah. I like that, the aspect of the visual aspect of a podcast. Yes, I like it.
You're all for the branding. You're not involved in recording or listening.
No, I'll produce. Anyway, executive producer James Barron.
You just edit out all the parts where whoever the guest is just telling me how much they hate me for making them do this.
Oh no! I would not do that. I would keep it all in.
Yeah,
it's too mean. Too mean a joke. No. Anyway, we're monetizing the hell out of our family curse. We're going to put putting on a ploy. We're going to disguise our hangouts as a mathlete's preparation. I do love that they pretend to do mathletes. It's very funny. Meanwhile, they're like selling panda pics. Come and get your photo taken with a big panda. and like custom made panda merch, which we're on board with that.
It must have cost them so much to make that merch, by the way.
For real, in $2002. Holy shit! Like custom T-shirt printing, not much of a thing back then. I feel like it was available, but it was like out of reach for a 13-year-old. Maybe the US is different. I don't know. Or Canada's different.
Yeah, and I guess they're making a profit.
Yeah, it's true. They're upselling them. These T-shirts are like $50 a pop.
bet.
The school develops like panda fever. Everyone's like, you see like everyone wearing merch. They've got like the panda tails that they're wearing. Everyone loves this big floofy friend. And yeah, why not? I do also love that they have like a donation meter. You know, the thermostat for raising funds, the classic visual representation. And it's just on a cool panda in sunglasses, and they're filling up his tail with red. I love it. I love that. I want a shirt with just that.
Yeah. Every year you own the T-shirt, you can colour in the tail more.
Yeah. It's a legacy shirt. And yeah, like Tyler is also forbidden for being a bully and a bad guy. There's like a no Tylers sign in front of the room where they hang out and do the panda shenanigans. It's very good. There's also a fun bit where like the mum nearly catches them in the act. The classic like get everything back in order just before at the last minute sequence. Very good. A lot of fun. They all turn and like have fake smiles on. Yeah, fun stuff. The girls are like all hanging out at the bleachers. Their money-making scheme is going well, but they haven't raised enough yet. May's starting to freak out that they're running out of time. I think at this stage they've raised $600, so 3 of them can go to this concert, which in itself is very impressive.
Yeah.
It's like, in the context of the movie, they've raised $600 over the course of like 2 weeks, which is pretty impressive stuff. And for a 13-year-old, very enterprising. Miriam, so she starts freaking out about this, and Miriam tries to calm her down and says, "Hey, May, breathe," during Breathe, which I was stoked about. So there you go. Miriam's a listener for this movie. She's the one that has Pink Floyd on in the headphones. I don't think anyone else in this whole school has heard of Pink Floyd. It's her secret love. She loves Four Town, but she also loves another boy band.
Yeah, she's currently just taking a year off her love for Pink Floyd to be into Four Town, but then Pink Floyd are going to come back.
They'll be coming back in a big way. Yes. Under the bleachers lurks shady old Tyler, the school bully, and he is coming defeated and coming in and saying, "Hey, May, I've got a proposition for you. Can you come to my birthday party as the big panda and draw in a big crowd?" And he's using like his knowledge of her transformation into the panda as leverage. It's like sort of a blackmail thing, but also not. She's like, so come to my, it's interesting because he's like coming completely defeated. He's on the out of this whole panda thing because he's been not allowed to go and see the cool panda that everyone loves, which is quite funny. But yes, he's like, yes, please come to my birthday and I'll trade a favor for a favor. And May's like, okay, I'll do it on the condition that you also give me $200. And he's like, okay. She's like, what? I do love that it's like not even a thing for him. It's not even an issue. He's like, 200, sure. He's apparently loaded. Who knew? And so they, May's like all ready to sneak off to this party because it'll raise them to the 800 total, so that they all can go. They all can sneak off to Four Town. And she's going to sneak off to this party under the guise of it being a mathletes meeting, like sleepover mathlete party at somebody's house. But the mum insists, she's like, she insists on coming with and driving her to the mathletes and like hanging out and helping, because she's trying to be like, I think she's at this stage like worried about losing May. May's been hanging out more and more with her friends, getting all this stuff done. And and the process of this, like the combination of the panda situation and also her growing up and doing puberty at the same time, she's worried about losing her daughter, I think is what's happening, and doesn't want to let go. And so, she's like walking with her, and like May's trying to convince her not to come, and eventually does like directly stand up to her and say, I don't want you to come, which is like a kind of a breakthrough for her. But before this can like take hold and have any kind of effect, it's interrupted by the arrival of May's aunties, who all show up and like pinch her cheek. One of them just starts like slapping her like head around, which is really weird. Because there's four of them and they all have to be like messing with her face in the same scene, but one of them's just like whapping at her head. It's very weird. But yes, and also May's grandmother has come as well, who we see in her full glory right as we get the crash sound and On the Run. And I was like, oh shit, this is a powerful presence.
Yeah. Such a perfect scene for that.
Very good. And yes, so they've arrived early to assist with the ritual. They're here like a few days ahead of the thing. And basically, like much to the chagrin of of May's mum, who really doesn't want them there or the help, because of her relationship with her own mother is very poor. So they like stock May up on all these like remedies and like special secrets to control the panda, and they all also don't believe how well she is doing. They're like, oh, there's no way that you're able to control the panda like you say. It's always really tough. And but no, the mum's like, she passed every test, even the kitten box, and everyone's like, oh shit, they're all really impressed with her. And we also learn that May's mum's panda, her panda transformation, was particularly unruly, very tough to deal with. And that's left open to interpretation at this stage.
Yeah, lock that in your memory.
May like hides in her room and like starts doing the classic like pile up toys under your bed, Ferris Bueller's Day Off style, to like try and get away. And because she's late for her appearance at Tyler's party, but Grandma comes in and gives this very serious and severe warning, being like, don't let the panda out. She finds like some panda here and is like, why would this exist if you had not transformed into the panda? If you've been so good at controlling it, why did I find this, eh? And she warns that the more she lets the panda out, the harder it will be to complete this ritual. And she's also setting up the stakes of this. She's like, it would be a great disappointment to your mother she's like using this leverage here, being like, if you transform into the panda more, you'll be betraying your mum, because she's hopeful that she can save you. And it's like, whoa, okay, Grandma. Yikes. Anyway, she sneaks off to the party after this because she's made the promise. She's rocking between a rock and a hard place. Meanwhile, at the party, May's friends are like stalling for time in the funniest ways. They're like trying to play like Boggle. Yeah, it's very good. It's a typical like 13-year-old boy-girl party as well, where like it's super awkward, and they like all the girls are on one side of the room, like one couch, and all the boys are on the other side. It's really funny how that's set up as well. And they're like biding their time when finally May arrives, but she's in the panda outfit from the temple, the like cardboard panda suit, and everyone's like, this is bullshit. This is not what I was looking for. Her friends question what's up as well, because they're like, why aren't you becoming the panda? And she's like, I'm really sorry, I can't do the panda anymore because of the like pressure of her parents and the potential of being stuck as the panda forever, or stuck with the curse forever. And she's like, she's very, very concerned about that. And her friends are like, okay, I guess that means like we're screwed and one of us won't be able to go to the concert. And they're like, they try and decide which one of them will stay home. And they're like, well, if not all of us can go, then really none of us should go together. And her friends are all really disappointed and sad. And we know that this is the thing that May values the most, her friendships here. And so she decides to transform into the panda one last time so that everyone can go to Four Town together. And we have she transforms into the panda, and we just have a montage of like panda party fun over the time solo, which is great. She's like whisking people up with her tail and like giving them rides around the yard as this big panda. Looks like a lot of fun. They even do this like big like hooray pose in front of the camera with all of them jumping up into the air. It's very like kids' TV show in a great way, like Barney and Friends or something. I got that kind of vibe.
Yeah, a show where there's no stakes to you turning into a panda. That'll just be like the whole episode.
Exactly. Just everyone having a grand old time. Yes. While this is happening, the grandma is leaving. Grandma and the aunties are all leaving to go and stay in a hotel because there's not enough room at May's mum's house, May's mum and dad's house. So the grandma is leaving and offers a warning, being like, "Hey, don't let May out of your sight. It's a very important time for her. You need to be looking after her." And so May's mum goes in and checks on May, and not only finds the hidden stash of panda merch and items that have all been stashed under her bed as this like shrine of crime down there. It's very good. But also discovers that she is gone and has gone to Tyler's party. There's even like the smoking gun of the like pamphlet with like the panda on it being like, "Hey, come to my party. There's this cool panda there." It's very good.
With the most perfect early 2000s graphic design on it. Like such
so
a like hip hop mixtape from from Chingy or something.
Right there. That's Nelly. Nelly's right there. Whoops.
No, Chingy did right there. Yeah, the lyrics, "I love the panda with the red fur.
Oh, there he is.
That's
I always
Chingy.
mix up my Chingies and my thingies and all those rappers. They're real tough. Of the era, there were so many.
Oh, did you say thingy as in the puppet?
Yeah, he's one of my faves.
I'm surprised you could beatbox after that.
Oh yeah, it aged another like 45 years saying that. Anyway, the girls are at this party, like taking a break from the panda fun and hanging out on top of the roof, because the panda can like propel itself into the air. I think it's like carried all the girls up here, and and they're just hanging out up here. Celebrating their like pending victory. They've like now raised enough money that they'll all get to go to the concert, and they're really excited about it. And May is still feeling really guilty about letting the panda out after this warning and jeopardizing her family relationship over her friends. But her friends are saying like, we really value this change in your character because like you've been under the thumb of your family for so long. And like you breaking out and having more fun with us, we really appreciate that, and we love you and thank you. It's nice to see more of you, and that's really sweet. But it is manipulative, but it is sweet. But anyway, they're happy that for her because it's a more healthy relationship to be having with your parents. It's to not be beholden to them constantly, and not valuing their approval at all times over your own self and your own self-worth. You value your parents, and that's not healthy.
No, you shouldn't value anyone over your own self-worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very good life advice. And yeah, they're very happy about that. And we go into great gig, and as they're all like celebrating and getting excited, they're listening to the radio. and as that radio is playing great gig, it gets briefly interrupted by an advert telling us that the concert is actually taking place the same night as the ritual on the red moon. It's going to be performance under the red moon is what they say on the radio. A hilarious mix-up where instead of the Toronto date, they got confused and it was the Toledo date, which I looked it up, and it is a reasonable mistake to make in that they are decently close to each other. It's 4 hours drive or something between Toledo and Toronto, so it's okay. Honestly, I checked the touring. I was like, is that a legitimate tour path?
To kick off your tour in Toledo as well. Toledo is blessed in 2002.
Exactly. You're lucky to have them.
Yeah.
The power of Four-Town. Right, I want to see what the Toledo gig was like. Yeah. Honestly.
Also attacked by a giant animal.
Yes, just an enormous cougar or something attacks. Oh gosh.
I'll have you know, Toledo's average weather is 6 degrees, and its mayor is Wade Kapzukowiak.
Okay, I'm looking up Toledo's national animal,
Yes.
and I'm trying to find it. Oh, it is a little cat. It's a little bobcat guy.
Oh,
he's cute.
Oh, yes.
I'm happy with that.
Oh, imagine a giant one of those.
Here we go.
I'm furious that I googled Toledo Bobcat and I got Bobcat equipment and forklift rentals for sale in Toledo, Ohio. I wanted to see this cat.
Oh, I'm sorry. May is now flown into a panic because she's got this crisis of choice where she won't be able to go to now that they have the resources to go to the concert, she won't be able to go because the ritual is taking place. So she's incredibly emotionally torn as we're getting the great gig vocals, which is feeling great. And this is escalating only more and more because Tyler is like, hey, my birthday is still happening. The hour's not over. I want more panda rides. And she's like, I'm dealing with emotional turmoil right now, Tyler. Leave me alone. And he's like, fine, screw you. Get out of here. I won't pay you anyway. He calls her mum a psycho and her a freak, which no good. And this is what breaks her. And she does a big panda pounce down on top of him and terrifies the hell out of him. And this is right when May's mum arrives on the scene, right at the point where May has lost control, and we're getting these great gig vocals just roiling over top of us. It's amazing.
These great gig vocals are so perfect for this kind of thing. You'd wonder if Pink Floyd never told us that actually Claire Torrey, the singer of Great Gig in the Sky, had turned into a panda mid-take. That's got to be the secret. It's just so spot on, this song. And every time it's played so far has been perfect. Big panda emotion, bit of Great Gig in the Sky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all we ask for, from these movies, just for these perfect alignments of tone and sometimes of coincidence,
Yeah.
And it's great when it happens. I'm very happy with this.
That's all we ask, is that these movies be perfect with Pink Floyd. And statistically, we don't get it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when we get to the stats, Gareth. We'll find out for sure. Yes, May's mum apologizes to Tyler's parents for this disruption, this panda attack, and is very sullen and sad about it. and it's framed really well with the kids standing in between the parents, and as they send everyone home, and it looks as if Mum is coming over to yell at May, but in a twist, again, she blames May's friends for corrupting May and taking advantage of her, and again, she's siding with her daughter, but also to an irrational degree, to the point where she can't possibly imagine May making this kind of decision. Up until this point, she's been so on side with Mum. There's no way she could have acted this way. So it must be the friends corrupting her, Yeah. It's really rough. The friends they're we just wanted to go see this concert, and she's like, this fucking concert. God damn it. It's you're just wasting your time on this filth. How could you make my daughter feel this way? And the friends try to get May on side and admit that it was her call and stand up for them, but she doesn't. She goes with her mum, unable to stand up to her mum in this moment of crisis. She backs down and fails her friends, kind of. It's a tough scene. It's really, really clean over the Great Gig Vocal, this whole thing.
Yeah.
This really, really dramatic sequence. And yeah, we get to the night of the ritual and the concert right as we go into Money. So it's a perfect little line up there. From the top of the roof up until the end of this drama is perfectly aligned with Great Gig. And it's sick.
Yeah.
It's
all we ask.
It's all we ask, all right? We don't ask for much. Yes, May's family is gathered, and they're having this fantastic dim sum style dinner around a big table. It looks delicious. This is exactly what I wanted to do. I think I went and got Chinese food after watching this movie, because I was like, oh man, could slam some dumplings right now. Anyway, they talk about how the 4 in 4 town is an unlucky number, which is true in Chinese culture. The number 4 is unlucky. I thought that was a great detail. They have a toast and prepare for this ritual. We see that the dad is cleaning up after this dinner, and he finds the little camcorder that May had used recording her having fun with her friends, doing this fundraising as the big panda, and goes to comfort her because she's feeling very upset, obviously, and has this. It's a very pivotal scene here again, where he's saying he really liked this part of May, this panda form of her. It made him laugh, and he tells the story about how May's mum and grandmother had a huge fight back when she was going through the same thing, this panda blessing situation, and the fight was over him, and because grandma didn't approve of the pairing between May's mum and May's dad, and it caused this massive fight with the big panda causing huge destruction and presumably the big scar on the grandma's face. Yeah, he says he delivers the thesis of this of the movie here, the lesson, the true lesson. He's people have all sorts of sides to them, and some sides are messy. And the point isn't to push the bad stuff away. He says it's to make room for it and live with it and grow from it. It's this really beautiful message of self-acceptance and accepting of change in oneself and accepting all sides of oneself. It's really good. It's cool.
Yeah.
Good job, Dad. Good stuff. Sleeper hit character of the movie.
Right? This feels really basic, but the fact that Pixar, the morals of Pixar movies recently, since Inside Out, have been legitimately good and difficult things to learn even as an adult. It took me pretty much until Inside Out was out to realize oh no, it's okay to be sad. And like,
Yeah.
it's kind of taken me in my life until Turning Red has come out to be like, no, people are messy. People are not easy to categorize.
Yeah.
They're all, big. We're all big, hairy beasts.
There you go. Yeah, they're all they take these lessons and these values that are very applicable and very not well explored in cinema, I think. Like not a lot of movies are tackling this kind of thing. And it's a hard thing to take on with a story, I think, a lot of the time, having a moral. A lot of movies aren't trying to do that. And I think they do a really good job, like every time. So, that's impressive. Anyway, it's time for the ritual, Gareth. It's too late to have a lesson, unfortunately. It's ritual time. The decision is already made. And I am ready to talk about this amazing ritual because things go like full fantasy for this bit and I'm super into it. There's like a circle gets drawn on the ground, which opens a door to the astral plane. And we get the moon lining up for an eclipse, which I'm stoked about. And as part of the ritual, the family are all gathered around the edge of the circle and they sing from the heart. The guy notes that it doesn't matter what is being sung so long as it's sung from the heart, which is a good thing to note. And the moon in the background fully eclipses and May like floats up into the air and like is surrounded by this blue light. And Mr. Lee like holds up a sword that shoots a beam from a crystal into her forehead, sending her on an astral journey. Sick. It's so cool. In this like astral plane, this dream world, she ends up in this bamboo forest and encounters the spirit of her ancestor, Sun Yi, who is out here like in full like traditional ancient Chinese garb, and is like creates this mirror portal in the forest here, and May has to push herself through it, this like doorway from which there is no return, and sends the panda form out the other side, which is such a rad visual of her like trying to break through this wall, this window, and push through with the panda pushing in the opposite direction. It's really good, really cool. As this panda spirit like flies out the other side of this portal, it appears into the real world and like erupts out of her body, which is still floating, and is pulled into this like being sucked like Ghostbusters style into a talisman, which is rad. There's a sequence where he pulls this little gem out and his eyes like flash for a moment and like it begins like the process of like removing the spirit, and I'm like, I'm all about it. This is so cool. I just wish more movies had spirits being captured in talismans, Gareth. This is
every movie. It should be a requirement.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
You want funding for this rom-com? You got to get the crystal and the spirit scene.
You've got to seal my spirit in a talisman to get me on board on this project. Trap me like a genie and then I'm on board. Oh my God. Anyway, yes. So as she's like pushing through this mirror, she turns around and looks over her shoulder, looks back literally at the panda spirit, who like winces and like looks really sad. And as she's like pushing through and all this stuff is rushing around her, she remembers all the good times and all the bad times that she had with the transforming over the last few weeks. All the times that she had with her friends as the panda. And she decides in that instance that no, she's going to choose to keep the panda, and like rushes back and dives back through, and this big explosion of the pink cloud of smoke, and we see that she is the panda. She's accepted that part of herself and has chosen to keep it, and I love that. And yeah, her family are really concerned because they're like, the ritual's failed. We have time. We'll try it again. But May refuses. She's like, no, I'm keeping the panda. And everyone's like, no. And they try and hold her back because she wants to run off and go to the concert, taking control of her life. And her family like are all holding her back and pulling her back. And she like defies them and breaks free, running away. And this drives her mum into like a frenzy. Her mum, like everyone like falls to the ground, and her mum's necklace like cracks on the concrete below, and it just like slowly shatters as she becomes more and more stressed, as the aunties are like all around her, like freaking out and panicking. And yeah, it's this betrayal, her perceived betrayal by May here, like is too much, and it sends her over the edge. And her panda spirit breaks free from the necklace, and she transforms, and we're like, oh shit. And yeah, we go from here into us and them, and we've got the R's coming in as May is like rushing to get to this concert. And I love that she's got like, as part of this panda transformation, she's got this, her turning into the panda causes a little like jet of air and smoke.
Yeah.
So she like launches herself into the air, which in itself is like a sweet little power. She's got like a double jump going on. And that's such a, if I could have a double jump in real life, I would love that. Like, that's such a good power.
I would give up like several basic human skills to just double jump. Like,
yeah, man.
I'd give up any ability to do small talk if I could just double jump instead.
Spend all that time double jumping instead, man. Who needs small talk when we're double jumping? That's twice as much jump.
You're never going to be stuck in an elevator with someone. You'll just double jump. So you don't need small talk.
You'll just leap your way up there. Yeah, she's just like Spider-Man flying through the city, you know, like swinging on the web effectively. It looks great. Her like flying through the air. She has like a full, like leaping in front of the moon. This girl like free at last, you know. It's so cool as a visual. And yeah, she like flies into the stadium from the sky, like diving in. And it's fantastic. It's such a like great visual of celebration, you know. And she like finds her friends in the crowd, and speaks with them. Admits that she couldn't do the ritual and chose to be here with her friends instead. She's chose that path, and she apologizes to her friends for not standing up for them, standing up to her mum and defending them. And Miriam, like, who's the most hurt by this, like, tries to act like it's too late and that she's, like, too hurt by it. But she's been secretly caring for May's Tamagotchi the whole time as proof of their enduring friendship. It's adorable. That Gotchi love. I love it. It's so cute.
I do love, speaking of friendship and gotchis, that a movie that distinctly mentions Tamagotchis as a major like plot point has had some of the least talk about Tamagotchis on this show. Like,
it's true.
GoldenEye, we talked way more about Tamagotchis, and this time we're like, Tamagotchis? No. What? We're here to discuss a film, please.
Yeah, they aren't important in this movie. She has one, but it's just mostly like setting. I just want to see Bond's
Whereas James Bond's Tamagotchi.
He's got the gotchi gadgets. I think that's what we talked about. I can't remember. Anyway, they also discover that Tyler is at the concert as well, like trying to be incognito, but he's also a fan of Four Town. Like a super fan. He's got all the merch. He's got glasses. He likes one of the Aarons. There's two Aarons in the band Four Town, which is a hilarious detail.
And
he
they're the ones no one likes.
Yeah, but he's like a super fan of one of them. It's so good.
Yeah.
What a good detail. But I also love that he is like immediately accepted as part of this group through this concert. Like, regardless of how he's acted throughout the whole movie, they're all like, oh, you're a fan of Four Town as well? Hell yeah. We love you now. Which is so nice. And he's just like, he becomes like, they have this cool bonding moment here where they like all accept him. It's really cool. It shows like, it shows that it doesn't matter that much, you know, all the bullying, they're able to set that aside. How good. Yeah. They have like a laughing moment being like, we're at the concert. What's mum going to do now? And then we see, we cut to like a shadowy black Godzilla in the background with glowing red eyes. And we're like, oh no. But it's okay because the band is here. The stage is set. As we are plunged into darkness for the beginning of the Four Town show. The band emerge one by one from big cages, like big bird cages, and do like a pose. And then they ascend to the sky with angel wings as they begin their song, which is it's just premium 2000s boy band aesthetic. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like straight out of the playbook. Oh, great.
It's like other boy band U2 coming out of that giant lemon.
It is. Oh my god. Just emerging from a cage and then flying free as an angel. It's just so funny. Like, that sounds like boy band lyrics, even. Yeah. But unfortunately, this performance is being interrupted by the kaiju panda mom, who appears, shows up to break up the festivities and like identifies May in the crowd and just like begins like diving through the stadium to attack. I love how terrified the band members are, all like dangling from their strings here, unable to do anything. And everyone's fleeing in terror from this monster-sized giant panda. So good. I did not at all expect this twist in this movie, by the way. When it goes full kaiju at the end, I was like, hell yes.
Yes. Yeah, Sam.
It's so great.
One of my friends who did give up watching the movie because they found it a little too extra at the beginning was shaken to the core to hear that it ends. Or like, the final act is a big kaiju panda.
Yeah. Right? It's not set up in any way. It's great. Well, you get like, my mum's panda was like a big unruly one, or she was really dangerous, but it's like, no, she was Godzilla. That's fantastic. Oh, it's so good.
It was like 80 feet tall.
Yeah. Caused a lot of damage to the temple, Gareth.
It's beautiful as well because there's no... Like, again, if you would just tell someone this, there's no villain in this movie. The villain is, like, again, miscommunication.
Yeah, and, like, lack of self-worth is the main villain, you know?
To then, say, and then a kaiju panda shows up.
Yeah.
And you'll never guess who it is.
You will not guess. So they have this kaiju attack, and... May gets like scooped up and is like being scolded by the mum. She was like telling off all the like people fleeing in terror, which is very funny. May continues to like defy her, and she's like, "Accept me for who I am, Mum. I make my own choices." And they have this like battle of both like physical combat with like this giant kaiju trying to catch the little pinging around smaller panda, which is flying through the air, as they're like arguing and working out their issues, where like the mum still sees this as a grand betrayal by May, but May is like, no, like, you don't understand me. Like, please listen to me. Like, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is not a phase, Mum, please, you know? And yeah, I love that, like, everyone is, like, getting involved and trying to help. The dad is running around the stadium painting a massive circle on the ground with, like, I guess, like, football field paint roller thing.
Yeah.
So good. And yeah, they're, like, having this battle. And there's a big final strike that May does where she says, sorry, I'm not perfect. Sorry, I'm not good enough. And sorry that I'll never be like you, is what she said. And like knocks the mum panda in the nose and sends her down. And she like collapses, destroying the stage with her head outside of this circle. And so May like runs over and tries to pull her giant mum into the circle so that she can like help her and complete the ritual before the time runs out, before the eclipse is over. And she's desperately trying to pull at the tail of this giant panda, but can't do it. And then Grandma steps up and transforms. She like throws her little pendant to the ground, and I think actually her ring she throws to the ground, and transforms into a panda with a badass scar, and like comes in to help. And then all the aunties follow suit as well. I love their transformation. This is easily my favorite shot in the whole movie. This magical girl transformation where they all pull out these little like brooches and like hairpins and things and throw them to the ground. There's like there's literal sparkles as they all pose and then transform into the pandas. It's so sick. It's the coolest visual ever. Oh, I love it so much. And yeah, they are all pulling this panda into place, and they start their like Chinese chanting, the ritual chanting like they were doing before. And it's being helped by the friends who come in and do their beatboxing.
Yes.
And a cappella, which I love. And then ascending on a tower of crushed amplifiers, it's Four Town who join in with their banger hit Nobody Like You, which is so smart because they matched the tone, they matched the key and timing of the Chinese chart to be perfectly aligned with this pop song, and that's great. Good work. Like whoever did that, props. It's so good. And yeah, they like it's this great moment of like all the like fans are coming back into the stadium to watch this insane ritual take place and like are singing along with their band. They're like, man, this is the weirdest opening to a show I've ever been to. And yeah, this enormous panda like floats up into like a colossal beam of light which is coming out of the stadium. And yeah, like the ritual completes in front of this in front of this crowd, and Pink Floyd sings "See You on the Dark Side of the Moon."
Right.
Oh my god. I lost it. I was transported to an astral plane.
It's such a great summary of like how specific this movie is. Like if someone somehow like their cat walked across their phone and somehow started this podcast at like this point and heard you just describe that.
Yeah.
Like, and then the boy band come in and they start like singing their hit while the girls beatbox and the pandas chant in order to turn this other panda back into her mom. Yeah. And everyone in the crowd's like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
into
did
the
my
podcast.
Cat sit on like several phones at once? What's going on here? And then we're like, and Pink Floyd get involved.
Yeah. We're adding an extra element. So we're transported back to the astral plane and in this bamboo forest, and May finds a young version of her mum, like the teen version of her who was going through the same thing. I love that she has the orange hair as well in this astral plane world. It's so good. And we see that May's mum is suffering from the same exact, like pretty much the same pressures that May has. Like her mother is being overbearing and intense, and she's sick of trying to be perfect and keeping her emotions in check all the time. And she doesn't talk about it here, but there's the stuff with the dad as well. She's reached a breaking point, and this is, I feel like, where she was at the time of her transformation, and that's why she was this really unruly, intense panda that they couldn't deal with, because she was going through so much turmoil in her life that she nearly didn't make it to the end of the ritual. And but May like takes her hand and guides her through this forest, like in the same sequence. Like it's like a mirror of a shot earlier where May took her mother's hand. She like puts her hair behind her ear in the same way that May's mum does for her. It's really, really well done. And like leads her through the forest. And as she does, her mum like ages up to her current day self. She like overcomes it and like returns to who she is now. It's great. It's really cool. And in front of this mirror portal, all the aunties are waiting there. And right as we go into Eclipse here, the grandma comes over and hugs the mum, and it's like, regardless of this pressure, she loves her, and it's this, there's nothing that she has to apologize for. And she's like, they like forgive one another in this moment. It's really lovely. It's a good end for the playthrough. And
yes, right?
Yeah. And one by one, we're in Eclipse, and one by one, they're all walking through this portal. And we see their like panda spirits like flying out into the bamboo woods beyond. Until it's just May and her mum there, and we're into the heartbeats. And May's mum walks through the portal and like reaches out a hand asking for May to follow. And May's like, no. She refuses again. She says, I'm changing and I'm figuring out who I am. And they're both scared of what that means. But the mum says, she has this really great moment where she takes responsibility. She's like, if it was me that taught you to be so hard on yourself and to and to like put other people before yourself so much that it hurts you, I'm really, really sorry. And she says that no matter what she does from here on, she'll be really proud of her. And it's really sweet. It's a super good moment to happen over the heartbeats between the plays. And Speak to Me coming in here. As the eclipse completes in the sky, we see that the moon has returned and is full for the beginning of playthrough 3, as ancestor Sun Yi reappears and that transforms both of them into their panda forms, both May and her, and then they fly up into the sky and touch noses in front of the full moon, Gareth.
Yes.
As we begin the playthrough proper. Breathe comes in for the final time for this epilogue sequence after the events of the movie. We like open up on the like broken stadium. There's like a Blue Jay here, which I found very funny. The Toronto Blue Jays represent.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We see like the events post this. May's mum had her panda spirit captured inside of the Tamagotchi, which is hilarious. And even funnier, the grandma had hers trapped inside like a 4-town merchandise necklace, which is like a big 4, which she finds incredibly unlucky. It's so good.
It shows her losing a poker game.
It's hilarious. We see that the new life balance that we have. May still helps out at the temple and is drawing in bigger crowds than ever before because she can transform into a giant panda that everybody loves. And so, they're trying to raise money to repair the stadium, the damage that they did. There's like the same panda fundraising image, except his tail is enormous and goes up to like $1 million. It's very funny. But there's a new balance where May's friends arrive at the temple and she goes to hang out with them, and her dad like fills in for her as it puts on the panda costume from earlier. I love that her friends now includes Tyler as well, who is like accepted because of his love of the band. He's just part of the crew now. So good. The friends are invited back for the family for dinner at the family house, which is something that hasn't happened before. Like this acceptance of the friends and family coming together, like accepting both sides of who May is, you see. May delivers the final message, again, reiterating what her dad said, where everyone has another side to them, and sometimes that side is messy and loud, but the key is to accept yourself, and others will be accepting of you if you accept yourself. Yeah. Positive. And we are basically midway through Breathe as we go into the credits, which are so long, by the way. Oh my God. I had to watch all the credits because there is a post-credit scene which takes place...
What?
Yeah. Takes place approximately in money. It's very short. It's just... It's just the dad bopping to Four Town, proving that he is also a secret fan. He's listening to the little mix CD and just having a wee go. His secret passion is, of course, Pink Floyd's Time, which is playing at the time. But yes, I soldiered on, made it to this post-credit scene just so that you're aware of it. What did you think? How did it sing?
Well, I'm thinking I have to give you an extra point for being a better sinker than I. So now you're at a 6 and I'm at a 5.
Oh.
But in terms of the movie and how it's synced with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, I mean, this is a movie about feeling big emotions. This is a movie that, like, you know, maybe the youth might find a bit embarrassing because it's so earnest and big. But you know what else was earnest and big and some of the youth found embarrassing in its day? Dark Side of the Moon.
There you
go.
It was
a big, honest album that, like Pixar, was using the latest technology to tell its lovely stories.
Yeah.
And all of that's to say that this synced pretty good to Dark Side of the Moon. Not great, but good.
Pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah.
There were syncs. Who knew? Yeah. There's that one really good sequence over Great Gig on the second play.
Yeah. Magnifique.
Yeah. Oof. But yeah, I think pretty good is good. Yeah. I'm feeling like, I feel like a 6, like you said. I'm pretty happy with that. Above average.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's not the grade May would get.
No,
but
absolutely not, no.
If she took a sinking class in middle school.
No.
But, you know, that's, good movie, pretty good sync. My next quick question is, we've talked on a microphone for so long. Are we now a boy band?
Ooh. Can we be a boy band of 2? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, was Simon and Garfunkel a boy band?
Yes. So you've proven it to me with one suggestion. So, there you go. The Pink Floyd boy band.
Classic S Club 2.
Yeah.
Sync Club 2.
Club? Oh, no. Oh, incredible. Oh, my God.
And speaking of Sync Club 2, what are we... speaking of S Club 7, what are we doing in 7 days? Speaking of Sync Club 2, what are we doing in 3.5 days?
Oh, yes. Okay. We're going to be doing another movie about a big scary monster, Gareth. And I want to be revisiting one of our loves. We mentioned it on a previous episode, but I want to address the Tooch. I want to get back to my Tooch roots, and I'm ready to talk about it. I'm very excited to present The Devil Wears Prada next episode.
Yes,
Streep alert.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Deal.
Deal. Lock it in. A deal with the devil. Next episode. Catch us on Sing Floyd Pod on Twitter, singfloydpod@gmail.com, Sing Floyd Pod on Letterboxd, on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, on your Tamagotchi, where the little friend clean up our poops or we'll die. Okay, that's all.
That is all. I've been Gareth Blacklow with my burned feet. I'm the sensitive one in the boy band.
Oh, I've been James Barron. I'm the bad boy with a heart of gold.
And until next time, we'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
On the dark side of the moon, yeah. If you could like auto-tune that one, that would be really good.